Welcome into the Next One's Network. I'm Colin Brown. Today we preview the Big Ten Conference for 2019. We started out west with the Pac-12. We make our way through the Power 5 and into the mid-major ranks. But today, the spotlight is on the Big Ten. And let's start with the preseason favorite, and in many people's eyes, the preseason number one team in all of college hoops. That's Michigan State. The Spartans return a loaded cast of playmakers, including star point guard Cassius Winston, a preseason player of the year candidate in not only the Big Ten, but in the country. Freshman last season, Aaron Henry, now a sophomore, back in the mix as well. Xavier Tillman down low. Keep an eye on the big fella. I think he emerges as a star alongside Winston this year. Gabe Brown, another critical key component. And then you got to look at Malik Hall and Rocket Watts as well. The incoming freshman should see some minutes behind Winston, but this Michigan State squad is absolutely loaded from top to bottom. Right now, I see them as the favorite in not only the Big Ten, but the number one team in the country as well. With the returning cast of characters they have and Tom Izzo on the sideline, it will be tough to knock out Sparty in the Big Ten. After Michigan State, we're going to look at Maryland, a stellar sophomore class for the Terps. Mark Turgeon has done an unbelievable job out there really building that program up. And you look at their starting five, there's a lot to like. They return their point guard Anthony Cowan. A surprise move in my eyes when Jalen Smith, the lengthy post player, comes back to school after Bruno Fernando decides to leave. But the key cast around those two will be critical, and I think a reason why Maryland will have a big-time chance to make a deep run in March. Daryl Morcell, Eric Ayala, and Aaron Wiggins, three key figures for this team. If they can match up on the defensive end and then continue to grow and mature offensively, Maryland should have a top 10 type team here in 2019. The question becomes, can Mark Turgeon get over the hump and make a deep run in March? Alongside Michigan State and Maryland, I'm going to point out Ohio State, a young nucleus there for the Buckeyes. Kyle Young, a leader coming back in that locker room, but they'll be led by Caleb Wesson. The big fella down low is very physical, knows and understands how to play on both ends of the floor. And then if Luther Muhammad, Dwayne Washington, and Andre Wesson, the brother of Caleb, can step their games up, Ohio State will have a good shot to be a top 4 pick in the Big Ten. Also, don't forget about 4-star point guard DJ Carton out of Iowa. He'll be in the mix this year and could run things from day one for the Buckeyes. But Caleb Wesson, the anchor down low for Ohio State, the Buckeyes will go as far as he takes them. Up next, Purdue. The Boilermakers lose a lot from 2018-19. You have to start with Carson Edwards. What a terrific career and season he had, taking Purdue, the Boilermakers, deep into March Madness. But I'm really interested to see how Matt Painter responds. Nogel Eastern will be the key component back from last season. He's really a do-it-all guy on both ends of the floor. I think he'll step up offensively this year. He's got a lot of talent. And then Travion Williams, Matt Harns, and another guy that I think really impressed throughout the NCAA tournament was Aaron Weather, a lengthy guard or small forward. He really shot it well, played with a boatload of confidence. Those guys will be key for Purdue if they want to stay atop the Big Ten rankings and possibly make another run in March for Matt Painter and company. So Purdue, Ohio State, Maryland, and Michigan State thus far. Now let's check in on a team that missed the NCAA tournament, but this year will look to get back to March Madness, and I think they will. That's the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Great news when Ayo Dosunmu decided to come back to school. They virtually returned all key pieces from last year's team, and although the Big Ten is as rugged as a conference as you'll see, Illinois has the firepower to contend. Now, alongside Dosunmu, you have Trent Frazier, the point guard, back in the fold. He understands how to run that offense with Brad Underwood, and I think he does a terrific job scoring from his position. Doesn't have great size, but leads that team as a floor general out there. Then you have to look at Georgios Giannis Vili, a big-time talent down low, really Came out of nowhere last season, put up 30 plus in a few games. The big fella can bang around down low and should continue to improve here as a sophomore. The recruiting class coming in will also help the Fighting Illini. So Illinois, a big-time turnaround story here in 2019. I think the Illini will get into the NCAA tournament. So through 5, after capping off Illinois, now things really start to get interesting. And I'm going to look at Michigan. The Wolverines, John Beilein out, Juwan Howard in. Michigan lost a lot of talent and will really lean on 2 guys in my opinion. That's Xavier Simpson and John Teske. Now you can throw Isaiah Livers into the mix as well at the guard spot, but those 3 will be critical for Juwan Howard in his first season as he gets going on the recruiting trail. Simpson, one of the best point guards or pass first point guards in not only the Big Ten but in the country. Teske, really an emerging playmaker and a guy who keeps improving year after year. And then Isaiah Livers, I think, is a guy who will jump off the screen this year, scoring the ball on the offensive end. He's got good size, strong frame. I think he will really, really excite a lot of people in Ann Arbor. Penn State, another team that will have an interesting 2019. Very, very impressed with their ability last year to fight and play hard for Pat Chambers. And Lamar Stevens, how about that? Decides to come back to school. He will undoubtedly be one of the best players in the Big Ten. Gives it his all on both ends of the floor. Mike Watkins, Miles Dredd, both back in the mix. Jamari Wheeler really needs to mature and should become a big-time player with more minutes coming his way this season as well. So Penn State, another team that a lot of people right now have on the edge or the bubble of making an NCAA tournament run. If Lamar Stevens can play at the highest of levels, which we've seen him do, I think Penn State could be a team squarely sitting on the bubble come March. Indiana, obviously Romeo Langford, gone after 1 season, on to the NBA ranks. Juwan Morgan, another guy that will be missed in Hoosier land. But you take a look, Rob Finney back in the fold, alongside De'Aaron Davis as well, the big fella down low. Al Durham, a guy who really impressed me throughout 2018, can score the ball from all 3 levels. So there is capabilities to work with in Hoosier land. I think they will have to rebuild in some sense of the word after losing a guy like Langford, but an immediate impact transfer will help. That is Tracy Jackson, the 5-star recruit coming in, Tracy Jackson Davis, should make an immediate impact for the Hoosiers as well. And although they're young, I think Indiana will still battle and stay relevant here in the Big Ten race. Another team that I thought could be a top 25 caliber team to start the season was Iowa. The Hawkeyes had a boatload of talent coming back. Tyler Cook decides to stay in the NBA draft, but that was really a foregone conclusion. But then Isaiah Moss decides to transfer out, heading to Arkansas, and now finding his way to Kansas. And then star point guard and one of the best shooters in not only the Big Ten, but in the country, Jordan Bohannon, goes down, has surgery, and will have to sit out and redshirt his 4th year on campus. So he will be back as a 5th-year senior, but that has Coach Fran McCaffrey scrambling to find options. Joe Wieskamp, the freshman last season, a terrific start to his career. I think he will be the focal point and the leader. Luka Garza down low, the terrific junior coming into 2019, should have a big impact. Then you have to look at guys who are really role players and have them step up moving forward. Ryan Kriener, the big fella down low with Garza as well, played some big-time minutes for Iowa. So those guys are a few that really need to step up. Jack Nunge, another kid coming off of a redshirt after playing his his freshman year. Cordell Pemsel, the Iowa native, will be back after redshirting as well. They do have some talent coming in through their recruiting class, but Iowa, a team that started looking like a top 25 caliber roster, now on the outside looking in for a berth in the NCAA tournament. We'll see how the Hawkeyes fare without their leader, Jordan Bohannon, in the backcourt. Nebraska, Tim Miles is out, Fred Hoiberg is in, and he has already added a plethora from the transfer portal. Cameron Mack and Kevin Cross, 2 names there for you for Nebraska. They'll lead the way. An interesting watch, this team. I think Nebraska will start to gain momentum as the Big Ten season starts. And let's not kid yourself, Fred Hoiberg can coach at the college level. He will get his type of guys in that system, and Nebraska will be up and rolling in no time. Wisconsin, the Badgers, a team that is a NCAA caliber team year in and year out. They lose Ethan Happ. This is going to be a really interesting team to watch in 2019. Brad Davidson back at the point guard spot alongside Dimitri Trice, a high-flying, big-time scorer in the backcourt. Trice, not great size, but can shoot it really well, very crafty with the ball in his hands. Those two will have to lead Scotty if the Badgers want to get back to the NCAA tournament and stay in that top 4, top 5 realm in the Big Ten. Minnesota, the Golden Gophers really got a tough blow when Amir Coffey decided to keep his name in the NBA draft. I was selfishly hoping he would be back in Minneapolis this season as well, but he has left. Gabe Kalsher will be the focal point in the backcourt, in my opinion. Really stepped up last year as a freshman, knocked down some big shots for the Golden Gophers. And then Daniel Oturu down low, a big-time recruit there up in Minneapolis for Minnesota. He will have to improve his game. I think he could become one of the most impactful players and most improved players in the Big Ten moving forward. We'll see who Coach Pitino puts around Kalsher and Oturu moving forward to try and make another run at the NCAA tournament. Finally, two teams left rather. Rutgers and Northwestern. You look at these two teams, Rutgers improved at times last year, played at a very high level. The Scarlet Knights have a solid core really returning. It will be really interesting to see what happens up in Piscataway. You have to look at Geo Baker at the point guard spot, a big-time shot maker, the proven leader of this team. Montez Mathis and Ron Harper Jr. as well, a young cast around Baker. So we'll see how Rutgers fares. I think they'll be middle of the pack, but nonetheless, there is talent up there in New Jersey for the Scarlet Knights. Northwestern, realistically, it looks like a rebuilding year for the Wildcats. They lose a lot 2 seasons ago. This last season was a disappointment in some regard as well. Robbie Baran will be a big-time talent coming in there that will have to carry the load offensively, and they're going to have to grow up fast. A very, very young cast for Coach Collins, but he is one of the best teachers we have in the game. He's been there, done it before, a career assistant as Duke as well. So we'll see how Northwestern and Rutgers fare, but I have them sitting at the bottom of the Big Ten, one of the best conferences in college basketball here in 2019 moving forward. So that's it. The Big Ten, all 14 schools accounted for. We have told you what we think, who we think will be at the top of the conference at the end of the season, who could make a deep run in March, some surprise teams, some surprise names, and a big-time list of top talent coming out of the Big Ten ranks. For everyone here at Next Ones, I'm Colin Brown. Don't forget to subscribe, comment below, let us know who you think should be on our list here moving forward as we work our way through the nation, covering the Power 5 and the mid-major ranks for the 2019 college basketball season.